What's up, horror fam? Welcome back to the channel. Hope everyone is doing well and having a good day. So we are back with another trailer review and reaction. It seems like January 2025 is just full of new horror trailers dropping almost every other day, almost every day. Sometimes we get multiple trailers dropping on the same day. So this one's a pretty interesting one. I haven't seen this subgenre, so to speak, within the horror spectrum. So as you can see here, postpartum horror title, the film is titled Mom, starring Emily Hampshire, will be born in February. So we're going to get into the details of this article, and then we're going to jump right into the trailer to see what this one's about. Again, I can't recall another horror film that kind of focused on this specific topic as it relates to like the real world and what women go through after having a child. So let's take a look at some of the details of this article before we get into the trailer. So actress Emily Hampshire shows that a mother's love never dies in the title film Mom. Described as a haunting homage to Rosemary's Baby, the Canadian film opens in select theaters on February 7th before arriving on digital on February 11th via Uncork'd Entertainment. So this is another film. We just did a recent trailer review and reaction on another film that's, you know, doing a similar thing. Select theaters on actually the same date, February 7th, and then dropping via digital 4 days later on February 11th. And as I mentioned during that trailer review and reaction, I don't understand this business concept, this business practice of dropping films in theaters, giving it less than a week, and then immediately going right to digital, especially if it's going to be available on digital for rent. I think you're just driving your audience just to wait those 4 days, spend less money to then rent the film, and then just watch it in the privacy of their own home, the comfort of their own home, versus having to go out, spend extra money, not just on the ticket, but more than likely on concessions. And then, you know, sitting through it, driving back home, you know, whether that's, you know, multiple hours. And it might just be a way for people to get out, spend some time with some friends. But I think the vast majority of people are going to want to be saving money nowadays. And if they know that they can see a movie just, you know, 4 days later for a lot less money and rent it. Because nowadays, I mean, most people, I don't want to say all people, but most people have a, you know, fairly good, you know, TV setup to where, you know, they got good quality picture, they have good quality sound, so they're just going to stay home and watch it that way. So again, I don't understand this business practice, but obviously there's a rhyme or reason behind it because it's just something that's becoming more and more common. So let's move on. The postpartum horror tale follows a struggling mother who's abandoned by her family after a horrific incident. As she falls further into isolation, she begins to be haunted by a sinister entity that is determined to make her relive her darkest moments. Adam O'Brien delves into the darker side of motherhood for his feature directorial debut, written by Philip Kellen Hajdu. And then we have the rest of some casting mentioning here. We don't need to go over that. So here we have a poster for the film. Pretty interesting poster. I don't know if you noticed it here, but I noticed it right away. There's this little something here, an insect, a bug, a centipede of some sort in the crib. So that could be maybe part of what the entity is, or what's maybe getting inside of her and driving her maybe insane somehow. And that's where the article ends off. So let's just jump right into this trailer and see what we're getting ourselves into.
This is all yours, Slugger.
I don't get it. It's so easy for you. It's Daddy. You didn't even want this.
Well, neither did you, but now he's here. And I'm a dad thanks to you. And you're a mom thanks to me.
Am I a bad mother?
Do you remember when you started feeling this way?
I feel like I've woken up in someone else's life. I had a vision of him as a young boy. It felt real.
This is not normal. She doesn't take him when he cries, but she barely talks to him.
Mommy.
Alex. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Am I a bad mother? You broke. You're not a monster.
Monsters aren't real. Just stare at it. Count to 10. Think, Meredith. Can you see it?
Mommy.
Am I a bad mother?
All right, so that's pretty creepy, pretty eerie trailer. So some things I noticed right off the bat. So there's this picture on the wall that almost. So if you imagine if you had like a glass of water and you dropped a droplet of ink in it, and you saw the ink spread out, that's what that reminds me of, that picture. That's something like that. And obviously there's something going on with that picture. We saw a moment of her just staring at it, and then there's another bit where we see the progression of her hallucinations. We saw blood coming out of a crib. We saw bugs coming out of that picture, which was the same type of bug that we saw on the poster. One of the other things I find completely eerie is the fingernail thing. I don't know about any of you, but when it comes to your fingernails, I think as you saw her, it was almost like she was pulling them away from her actual finger. That's just creepy in itself. I think though that there's something going on with the husband, and I think they potentially gave it away a little bit. If the husband is somehow helping her, and not only say helping her, but driving her into this psychotic break, because when they were seeing the psychologist or the doctor, I assume that's who they were seeing, and you saw her pulling back on her nail, he said something, and immediately then I grabbed her hand as if to stop, almost like control her, right? And then again, we see the progression of her breaking. We also saw a bit where she was, I don't know if she was self-medicating, or I'm sure those were meds that the doctor may have prescribed to her to help her through this. But just as she's, the part where she's rocking the baby, at first it was not gentle, not aggressive. It was kind of in between. But then when we saw it happen again, it was very aggressive. We saw chopping of the vegetables, very aggressive. We saw where she was imagining her son to be older. There was this monster or the entity in form behind him. And we also saw something coming up on her shoulder, another hand and arm. It looked human, so it didn't look like it was a creature or an entity when she's sitting at the head of a dinner table with people around her. And then, she has a break right there. So it seems like obviously the hallucination aspect is going to be big here. I can see this having quite a bit of jump scares added into it. I hope they don't overdo the jump scare, like overutilize it. I did mention the overutilization of jump scares in the movie review I did for the film Z, that's on Shudder, that deals with an imaginary friend of a child, and ultimately it was the imaginary friend of the mother as well when she was a child. They feel like they overutilized the jump scare a bit in that film as well. So I hope they don't do that here. I hope that they stick true to more of a psychological aspect horror of this. I do think that the overall topic of postpartum being the driver for the story is an interesting take. Again, I can't think of another film we've seen kind of touch on this topic and be the sole driver for the story. But I do think the husband has something to do with it just on that one scene. I could be wrong. We'll have to wait a few more weeks until it drops on digital. Hopefully we can find out where we can rent this somewhere, and then we can give it a watch and give our review. So let us know what you think down in the comment section of what do you think about this film called Mom? Is this something that you've seen in other past films touching on this topic? Again, I can't think of another film that's touched on this. If you have, drop it in the comment section. Let us know, and let us know what you think of the film. Is this something you're interested in seeing? And if you haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, we'll see you at the next one. Peace.